Hey, this is Eddie Olczyk. You're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mac, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 89 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nicholas Manella. How we doing, buddy?
Using the full name. Am I in trouble this week or something?
You might be. I don't know. You tell me. What'd you do? What you been up to?
Not much. Got to hang out with you a couple times in the last week. That was nice. That was a nice little change of pace. We don't get to do that often ever since I moved away from the Baltimore area, but it was great. We got to do a little boating. Wanted to say a quick thanks and a shout out to a friend of mine. I'm not allowed to say their name, but a very close friend of mine did get me this very awesome United States Secret Service hockey puck. So I am now Nick Manella, hockey puck detective. So I'm just going to bring this around with me like a badge anywhere I go. So
that's pretty awesome. I didn't see that when we were there. I guess he gave it to you or
afterwards.
Whoever gave it to you.
Whoever it is. Yeah.
Whoever. No idea who that could be.
You can't tell. It's a secret.
Also going to toss it across the screen to my other co-host, Mac Vogel, who also has an excellent question of the day to lead us off. Mac, I'm going to toss it off to you.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I'm just, having a little breakfast. Good Friday
Jesus
morning.
Christ, man.
Well, it's Friday. I thought did I read the date wrong? I thought it was
6:50 in the morning.
Right.
Dude, how can you drink all day if you don't start in the morning?
Oh my God.
That's just Wisconsin coffee right there, right, bud?
Exactly, bro.
Holy shit.
Oh,
that was kind of
Yeah.
awesome.
I will do a little question of the day here. This is one that my friends and I have debated on. I don't know which one of them like really created it to start, but
is this like a 2 a.m. after the bar? Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Those definitely been talked about in that kind of scenario, but I'll explain it as best I can. Basically, what do regular old folks like us or you have the best chance at doing? Gaining 4 yards in an NFL game, scoring a goal in an NHL game, getting a hit in an MLB game, or scoring 10 plus points in the NBA. And now those numbers are kind of like arbitrary. You could like move them up or down, however you see fit, but that's the fairest way I see to break it down. Like some people have also said like a point in an NHL game. I've even heard people say like a basket in the NBA, but I think it's like you could get lucky and like toss one up in the NBA. So like, I don't know. I feel like 10 plus is equal to like a goal or like 4 yards in the NHL. Like, do you know how hard it would be to get 4 yards in the NFL?
This is a really good question.
This is a tough one.
I think for me personally, you could automatically, all three of us should, I think, remove getting a hit in an MLB. I think
that's the hardest one.
The hardest one.
Yeah,
by far.
I would say the second one would probably be scoring 10 in the NBA because none of us are over 6 foot. And we suck at basketball, I'm going to assume.
Speak for yourself, dude.
You're good?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Great mid-range jumper.
Okay, but like
I'm not saying in an NBA game, but I could hold my own.
Myself. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. There's no way I'd score 10 in an NBA game. There's just zero chance.
I think, in my opinion, that's the easiest one.
That's the one I would go with just because it's
everything else.
Are you guys nuts?
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to go with.
Hard scoring 10 in an NBA game would be?
Can we talk about the football one?
There's no argument for this one. I'm sorry. There's no chance in hell when 300-pound men can run a 40-yard dash in about 5 seconds.
You're probably not even getting a yard in an NFL game.
I was going to say.
And you're going to end up in the hospital. So
yes.
Scoring a goal in the NHL, I don't think would happen.
No.
There's no chance.
No, but I put it as sort of like my second most likely to happen because,
Same.
Yes, I'd go out there and look like Bambi with skates on compared to those guys,
but it's still possible you could just rip a low one.
It could go off my shin or off my ass or off of someone else.
You guys think it's easier to score 10 points in an NBA game than gain 4 yards in an NFL game?
Yes, 100%.
Not in general, but for scrubs like us, absolutely.
Oh, I'm going to adamantly disagree on that one.
I just
and this
like
should go without saying, but like obviously none of these have to do with how hard it is to like get to that league. Or
Right.
No,
just
this
assuming
is all
that they're going to literally throw you into one game in any of these leagues, and that is what you have to do.
your
during
e-bug
that
or
game.
whatever it is for their sport. But the thing with the football thing is, even if, let's say the argument I always hear is like, what if I ran a pass pattern and got into open space?
Right,
One of
like,
those
what if-
guys could cover you blindfolded and with one leg on and still be faster than
Okay,
you.
maybe I read this wrong. Gaining 4 yards. What if I'm a running back? Is that because that's how I interpreted it? I'm a receiver. That changes the question.
You're anything.
I think it's anything.
Yeah.
It can be
I think
anything.
if you put me receiver, no way. Running back, I mean, I would think that if you had like, Pat Ricard at fullback and you get a good O line, you could maybe get a little lucky and squeak out 4.
I'm saying, let's say you have exactly one game in all of these to do this. Like you have one whole game, however many plays you're going to get in an average game. Like let's say you're like a regular-ish player. You're going to play like a decent amount. We could even make it an even 5 yards in an NFL game if that makes it harder or easier or whatever. But
Right.
I don't care. MLB, you could give me 1,000 swings. I ain't getting a hit. No way.
Not a chance.
No way.
That one's not happening.
And as much as like we love hockey and we've all played, I don't think there's a fucking chance in hell the NHL goal happens. I'm just being honest.
We just don't have speed for it mostly. We'd be stuck in like the neutral zone while they just keep going back and forth. Like we wouldn't even be able to like get into the zone before the puck was going.
You wouldn't be a factor at all.
No.
Yeah.
I want to pose this question to the listeners. I am personally going to say it's probably easier to gain 4 yards in an NFL game than it is to score 10 points in an NBA.
I'm going to stick with my basketball one. I'm not like discounting the NBA at all because those guys are ridiculous, but
they're freaks.
Yeah.
I will say I hear your logic, and I do think there's a possibility like you get into open space, you get lucky on one play, and you're like, oh shit, he got 4 yards there. But like,
there's no chance you're getting 5 buckets in an NBA game. I would bet my life.
You have to get lucky more times in the NBA one to like. You only have to get lucky once, right, on one play in that NFL.
Right.
And that's kind of it. So, dude, if you said 2 buckets, let's change it to 4 points. That
maybe
might
10 is a little high there. Yeah,
10 might be a little high. If you said 4 points, maybe I mean, it's still, I'd probably still go with football, to be honest with you. But 2 buckets.
What if you get fouled in the NBA? You're even getting free throws and shit like that. Like anything could happen. You're playing an entire NBA game.
If you can get into the paint, more power to you. But I don't know. I'm going to pose this to the listeners. I think we should publish this as a clip. What is easier to do? What do you have a better chance of accomplishing? Gaining 4 yards in an NFL game as a receiver or a running back, or do you have a better chance of scoring, you want to say 10 or 4 points in an NBA game? We'll say 4.
Sure.
Because
I think the last thing I'll say about basketball is the way that the NBA is played now. It's your best chance to have an open look at scoring.
Fair.
With the way the kick out and the cross seam passes are going.
Yeah, like you could easily, if you get decent at finding like one spot that you're comfortable in, like maybe that side free throw or 3 option where
the
you're
corner
like,
3.
Yeah, corner 3.
Yeah, I hear your logic. If it's 10 points, no fucking way. 4 points, maybe I can hear you.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. I like that. Good question, Mac. That was solid. I like kicking off the brain juices this early on a Friday. So we're going to get rolling here. A lot of league news to cover. But before we do, we just want to let you know that this episode is brought to you by Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh, Brackish Life. Brackish Life has also teamed up with Rink to Reef Chesapeake Bay to preserve the area many of us call home. Rink to Reef repurposes broken hockey sticks into oyster restoration habitats. Brackish Life donates a portion of their proceeds to Rink to Reef to further preserve the beautiful Chesapeake Bay area. Support this great cause by checking out www.brackish.life today. And one last thing, not to plug ourselves too much, but go check out the merch store on our website, emptybetters.com. Click on shop. Look at all the new summer merch that we have on there. That's only going to be up for maybe a month or so left before the summer is over. We also have our Wowie Kazowie collab with the Laughlin Family Foundation. We will also be at their charity golf tournament on September 13th with Craig Laughlin and Courtney Laughlin themselves. Plan to get a lot of good content from that. We'll be meeting up with some Caps players and getting some live interviews. So be on the lookout for that. Nick, I'm going to toss it across the screen to you. Yeah.
Shea Weber's season, just to kick off the news, is likely over. It just doesn't seem like, with the injuries that this guy has sustained over pretty much like the last 3 or 4 years, that he's going to be able to play next season. I really hope that that's not true, but this is what the majority of the reports out there are saying. And a lot of people suspect he may just retire and call it a career, which when you've accomplished as much as this guy has, do what you can do to preserve your, overall well-being for the next 20 or 30 years of life. So, power to you, good for him. And just want to wish him the best. Arizona Coyotes defenseman Niklas Hjalmarsson is calling it a career after 14 NHL seasons. He spent the majority of his career with the Hawks, where he played a vital role on all 3 Stanley Cup winning teams. He was one of only 7 players to be part of all championships in 2010, 2013, and 2015.
To chime in quickly on that one, just being near the Chicago area, a lot of Blackhawks fans around here, he was very beloved to that franchise for his entire tenure there. I know a lot of diehard Hawks fans out here that were real sad to hear he was hanging the mitts up. But
I know everyone talks about Keith and Seabrook, but that guy was just a shutdown machine for them. Just 8 pucks like
just
for breakfast.
Solid. You know what you're getting with that guy on the ice. So
him and Weber both play the game hard, play the game the right way, and wishing both of them a great career, great retirement. Excuse me. Save your body, like Nick said, please.
Yeah. Basically, following the draft and the trades that have happened over the last week, basically every brother pairing in the NHL is now playing for the same organization. So Caleb and Seth Jones are in Chicago. That's not where it stopped for the Blackhawks. They also drafted Colton Dach, Kirby Dach's younger brother. The Avs drafted Taylor McCarr, Cale McCarr's younger brother. And then the big one is the Devils drafting Luke Hughes. That's Jack and Quinn Hughes' younger brother, 4th overall. And now all 3 Hughes brothers went in the top 10 of their drafts. Quinn went 7th, Jack went 1st, and Luke went 4th. Mr. Hughes.
Aren't they saying Luke is going to be like the best one too?
Yeah, and he's the biggest one too. But Mr. Hughes, dude, bottle that shit and sell it, buddy. Come on.
Yeah.
For real. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Sorry, I'm trying to look up the round 1 recap here, but because I know we're getting to that next.
Yeah, Harry's trying to figure out if maybe it'd be easier to score a field goal in the NFL game instead, or if he's still been out of shape about this.
That's something that I put myself at 0 chance at.
Dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was a good question, Mac. I feel like people undersell the basketball there. I don't know.
No, for sure. I mean, it sparked a good debate. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
No, I'm hip.
Mike Sullivan was named the head coach of the now he pays attention, of the 2022 U.S. men's Olympic hockey team. He previously served as an assistant coach on Peter Laviolette's staff at the 2006 Olympics. He's also represented the United States as head coach of Team USA at the 2007 World Championships, and as an assistant coach at the 2008 World Championship and the 2016 World Cup. What do we think of this move?
It's the best American coach in the league. I mean, no shot at anyone in particular when I say that. I know you guys get some shit-eating grin on your face, but Sully's deserved it. He's last 5 years, hard to name a better American coach. So well-deserved. Hopefully this makes Pittsburgh respect him a little more, because every season it feels like people are calling for his name, but I personally love him as a coach. So
I don't mind the appointment. I just care significantly more about whether or not the NHL players are going as opposed to who the coach is.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't make a difference, but
that's a conversation for another day down the road. I'm sure in the next 6 months, well, they're going to have to say, but in the next 6 months, we should know more on that. So
yeah. And they'll flip flop 2 or 3 more times too.
100%.
Want to recap some of the draft stuff that's happened for you guys, but before we do, we just want to remind everyone that summer is here and there's never been a better time to get out on the water. Harry and I were both out on the water last weekend. We had a blast. So if you're looking to finance that new boat or yacht you have always dreamed of, then the Yacht Lender is a specialist in marine finance. With partnerships with 15 banks, he has the right lender for whatever vessel you may be in the market for. Backed by Trident Funding with over 25 years as an industry leader, the Yacht Lender has the expertise and know-how to finance the boat of your dreams. Don't wait. Apply today at yachtlender.com or check him out on Instagram at yachtlender to see others who have already gotten out on the water. Did you guys watch the draft at all?
No, but can I share a story?
Yeah.
So Yacht Lender, very near and dear friend. So last night, for those of you who are in the Baltimore area, this kid, he's a great yacht lender, and he lends yachts extremely well, and we credit him for that. But he decided to do a hot wing challenge at Delia Foley's in Baltimore. He did the hot wing challenge, signs the waiver. And I got a whole Snapchat from, a mutual friend who was documenting the entire experience. This kid is like dying 30 seconds in, like just pure like smoke out of the ears, face is red, meat sweats, like everything. And they told him he didn't want to do it, but they told him, if you're going to do it, like tonight's the last night, we only have like 3 peppers left that we use to like season these. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Well, he ate 5 of the 10, quit. So 1, he didn't even finish it. Then he chugs an entire like half pint of milk that he bought from 7-Eleven, which means it was most likely expired. Rips it. I wasn't there for this, but rips it. And then they're going to flip night at one of the bars, down the strip. This kid starts getting stomach like palpitations or whatever.
Shit.
Yeah, his stomach lining is just singeing by the second.
Jesus.
Like
hot wings, milk, and probably booze.
Yeah, exactly. So, naturally he comes to his realization, like, I am not okay. Pukes. This is warning, skip the next 15 seconds if you don't like graphic stories and you're sensitive to like all this kind of shit. So he pukes, and the puke is bubbling while it's on the concrete because it's so hot.
What?
Dude, that's how hot the wings were. I got a live video, and it was like a fried egg in a pan, covered in oil.
Disgusting.
It starts bubbling. I'm like, dude, that's gross. Like, oh my god. This morning he wakes up. I'm like, how you doing? I live with yacht lenders, so yeah. Spoiler alert. Not good. He actually is leaving for vacation today. Was supposed to leave at 7 a.m. Still in bed. Stomach is on fire, absolute fire, which means butthole probably on fire.
Yeah.
So he's recovering.
Yeah, I thought he was supposed to do a guest ad read today. I guess he wasn't feeling up to it.
Yeah, game time decision, couldn't go.
Got it.
But he will be lending yachts come Monday. But it was a rough kick at the can for our boy yacht lender last night. So it was a good effort, valiant effort, but made for some good stories. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. This is what I was going to pose a question of the day for, and I want your guys' opinion. One of my friends, not going to name a name, hooked up with a girl that hooked up. I won't get into the specifics, but hooked up with Dylan Larkin because they both went to Michigan back in the day. So when Larkin was at Michigan, she hooked up with him. Fast forward 6 years, however long we are now, my buddy hooks up with her. She ghosts him afterwards, doesn't say a word. And this guy thinks it's a good idea for him to get a Dylan Larkin jersey to troll her if he sees her out. What do you feel? How do you feel about the logic behind that?
How is that trolling her?
That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Like, Mac, you're smiling ear to ear. I kind of want to hear you.
I mean, it made me laugh initially, but it is true that I really don't think that would do anything. Like, even if first of all, that's assuming they're even going to run into each other or something like that, right? But I don't think it would really do anything. Like, if anything, she'd probably just chuckle or something.
Yeah, I don't
or
think that's
completely not get it at all.
Yeah, or be like creeped out.
I'm guessing though, if he knows that, and if you know that, and if we know that she hooked up with Dylan Larkin, she must like talk about it or like offer that up, which means it must have been like
which means it's kind of like it's clearly been a point of like conversation.
Right.
So
yeah, so I don't know. I was kind of telling my friend, I was like, dude, I don't think you're really like making her feel uncomfortable by doing that. I think you're actually just making yourself uncomfortable by doing that. So
I think you would make everyone uncomfortable by doing that.
Yeah. So I just wanted your guys' feedback. I actually set a reminder on my phone for that.
I don't want to rip your friend at all, but like, so what if she ghosted you?
Yeah, I mean,
next, like, just
oh yeah, dude, this kid's got problems, so I'm not gonna mention names, but he hard to
listen to our show.
Oh yeah, big time. So he knows exactly who he is. So he told me about this. He said, bring it up on the pod. I want to know their thoughts. So I set a reminder on Tuesday for like 6:30 on Friday. That's how dedicated I was.
Here was your first mistake. She went to Michigan. Move on to the next one, buddy.
Well, Nick,
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little entry draft, and I'm sure that you'll have a lot to say about Michigan.
Yeah, from ripping on them to, I mean, let's give them some props. This has never been done before, and honestly, this may never be done again. Out of the top 5 draft picks, 4 of them were Michigan Wolverines.
That's just nuts.
So, wonder who's going to win the national championship next year.
Yeah, they're a mush if they don't.
Because I
don't want them to.
I don't want them to either. But I think all of those guys are going to go back for another year.
Well, probably. And I mean, if I'm the number 1 overall pick, Owen Power, stud defenseman on Michigan who got taken by the Buffalo Sabres, there's no chance I want to play in Buffalo next season. Not with everything that's going on. I'd go win myself a natty and I'd go take my talents.
I also don't know if he's there yet. Like, I think he might need another year at least.
Yeah, exactly. So just to kind of recap the top 5, first overall, Owen Power, defenseman to the Sabres from Michigan. Number 2 to the Seattle Kraken, Matty Beniers. He's a center at Michigan. Number 3 to Anaheim, they have Mason McTavish, center from Olton in the SUI. And then number 4, we already said Luke Hughes of the Devils, Michigan. And then Kent Johnson. He's a center from Michigan, and he went number 5 to Columbus. Nothing really surprising. The one thing I will say, and I am by no means a draft expert, I'm just fully putting that out there, but this kid, William Eklund, fell to number 7 to San Jose, and he was saying that he was going to get taken number 1, and he seems like it was projected to go like 2 or 3, I think, dropped all the way to 7. That's pretty rare when you see that.
Yeah.
Nick, Sharks were probably like,
give
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, I know in the past you've been a big draft expert. Have you been following as closely this year?
Not really. I think, I haven't paid as much attention, just like the scouts, not that I'm comparing myself to them, but like they haven't been able to publicize as much stuff, which means I haven't been able to read as much stuff. So No, not really. I mean, I don't think it was any surprise that the Wolverines had a big draft. I think that was the big headline going in. We knew this was like a weird draft. We knew who number 1 was going to be. There wasn't really like a, contentious situation over it. So I think the big controversy from this draft, though, it comes with the player that was taken 31st overall. Montreal ends up taking defenseman Logan Mailloux. I don't know if you guys read up on this at all, but basically he announced prior to the draft that he was pulling out of it. And this came sort of in the wake of him being charged for invasion of privacy and defamation for taking an offensive photo without consent during a intimate encounter with a woman and then circulating that photo around. And I think that happened overseas in Europe.
Yeah, where he was Snapchatted it to his team, and then someone must have like spread it or something.
Right. So I think he was fined with it. I don't know if he was like charged with anything or not, but following that, he basically said like, hey, I'm not going to enter the draft this year. I'm going to, focus on the mistake I've made and learn how to better myself.
He owned it. Yeah.
Right. And then of course he gets taken 31st overall. So, and then there's been a ton of backlash. People are like, I don't like this, I think Bettman even came out and said something. The Canadian Prime Minister came out and said something, but
big, big controversy. I don't know. I have some thoughts. I don't know if I'll share them, but do you guys have anything further?
Not really.
I mean, I have my own opinions, but I feel like it's not really my place to even comment on it. Really, it doesn't affect me, and I also am not close enough to the situation to really know the details either. So
no, I'm right there with you. So we can move on from that.
Yeah. Let's try and cover all the nonsense, all the buyouts, all the signings, all the trades that we can. But before we do, I think Mac has a little message for you guys about what we've been doing with the Lachlan's.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to let all you listeners know that if you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with Craig and Courtney Lachlan to raise money for the Lachlan Family Foundation. The Lachlan Family Foundation was established to advance the research and care surrounding rare forms of cancer. To raise support for this great cause, we have teamed up with Craig and Courtney to create the Wowie Kazowie bundle. You get a limited edition shirt and koozie, while all the proceeds go to a great cause. Head to emptybetters.com to check out our store and pick one up today. If you guys haven't gotten those yet, grab them. Those koozies, it's still summertime. I know you guys are still getting out on the water, still going open carry in multiple situations. So grab your koozie. Don't get a ticket. Come on. I got a ticket one time at a LA County beach for having an open beer can. It was like $200 or something like that.
What a joke.
Don't be stupid. Yeah. I mean, that is stupid, but like they'll get you. So just don't be stupid.
Good one. I like it.
$200 really for having like an open beer?
Most expensive sip of Michelob Ultra I've ever had.
Yeah, seriously.
Was it worth it?
No.
All the like
I literally showed up to the beach, cracked the Mickey, took a sip, laid down, put a towel over my eyes, and like 2 minutes later, there's like 4 ATVs around me, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Are you on Mickey right now?
No, Miller Lite,
Midwest.
Like the only time I've ever seen like anyone get in trouble for drinking on a beach that's like not like one of those crazy spring break videos is when they've had like a glass bottle on the beach and the lifeguard comes over and goes, "Can you just dump that in a cup?" They're
just like sticklers at LA. And apparently everybody knew too that like that's a thing, but I had just moved there from Milwaukee where there's bars on the beach, so I was like, what's going on? What's the problem?
Right. What are you talking about?
It's encouraged in Milwaukee.
Right. It's in Lunchables in Milwaukee, actually. They send their kids to school with it.
There's like a little like Modelito, the little like in the Lunchable.
Right. Start them young. All right. Some buyouts to get to. The Rangers have placed Tony D on waivers with the purpose of buying him out. We'll get to more on that a little bit later. The Canucks bought out Jake Virtanen and Braden Holtby. The San Jose Sharks have bought out goaltender Martin Jones. There you go, Harry. Oilers placed James Neal on waivers for the purpose of buying him out as well. So
I believe only one of those names that you just said did not get scooped. Am I correct?
You are correct.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. So just keep those in mind as we try and breeze through these signings. We're going to try and highlight the big ones as best we can. Cale Makar signed in Colorado for 6 years with a $9 million AAV. I think when we saw this come out that we were like, okay, this is going to be the benchmark now for these young emerging superstar defensemen.
He took a discount too, let me tell you.
He did.
And we'll get to Werenski's deal in a second here, but there is absolutely no reason why Werenski should be making more than Cale Makar, in my opinion.
100%. Taylor Hall is going to stay in Boston for 4 more years at $6 million per. Of course. Yeah. What else is new? Miro Heiskanen gets an 8-year extension with an $8.25 million AAV. I think that's going to be a great deal for the Stars. You obviously want to lock that guy up as long-term as you possibly can.
As much as I shit on the guy all year when he was on my fantasy team, didn't do shit. Great player. I love him in Dallas too. I feel like he's like a good like franchise D-man for them to stick with.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Bennett signs a 4-year deal with the Cats at $4.4 million per. I think that's a great deal. Keith Yandel, the Sonk Daddy, gets a 1-year deal in Philly at a $900,000 contract. Not bad for Keith. I don't hate that for the Flyers. I hate it for myself.
Yes, that's the perfect way to put it.
Feelings there. Yep.
Yeah, the big fish, Ovi. Everyone was all upset. Everyone was wondering when it was going to happen. Everyone was getting nervous while everyone shut up because he signs a 5-year contract worth $47.5 million. That's $9.5 million per.
Team friendly deal. I said it to my buddies. Could have He literally could have taken them to the hoop. What are they going to say? No. I mean, so for him to take a little bit of a, I don't want to say haircut because I can't remember what he was making previously, but
I think it was around like 10, right?
He definitely could have gotten more, and he decided that he was going to be team friendly. Plus, he still scores like 35 goals a season. So, I mean, who cares? He's producing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little more tenure than I expected, to be honest, but I'm happy with it. I mean, they're talking to like they don't even know if that totally means he's going to be done after that or what. Like they're just going to reevaluate it when they make it that far. But
yeah, also now
whatever they signed him for, I would have been happy. It could have been 15 mil. I would have been happy. I don't care.
Yeah. Also, everyone has now started doing the math on how many goals he needs to score across the next 5 years. So
yeah, that's definitely picking up steam again, which is fun. That makes the game more fun. So
yes.
I get it.
The Avs get their captain Gabriel Landeskog back for 8 years, $56 million contract extension. If you went to elementary school, you can do the AAV math on that.
One quick thing I want to say on that. Worth the money if he's healthy, but based on the injury history that we've seen over the past couple of seasons, a little skeptical. That's all
I thought this was going to be like a 4 or 5 year deal kind of thing.
Yeah, well, he probably got him by the balls with the term, and they got it done, I think, like 18 minutes before midnight when free agency started. So good for Gabe. I love the way Landeskog plays. I think he plays the game the right way, and he's a warrior. That's why he's injured a lot.
Yep.
But he's worth every penny if he can stay healthy.
I like this too. It doesn't feel right thinking about this guy in another sweater. Like the whole time that those rumors were heating up, and there was even a couple moments where it almost looked like it was like a done deal, him going to the island and some other places as well. But I'm glad he's staying in Colorado. It never like settled right in my brain that he would be somewhere else. And as cool as it would have been for all of our Islander fans, I'm certainly glad that he's not going to be in the division against the Caps. So,
amen. The Habs have elected to bring back forward Joel Armia for 4 years, a $13.6 million deal. The Oilers signed unrestricted free agent forward Zach Hyman to a 7-year contract carrying a $5.5 million cap hit. The Oilers bring back Tyson Barrie for 3 years at $4.5 per.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, the Leafs have signed unrestricted free agent goaltender Peter Mrazek to a 3-year deal with an AAV of $3.8 million. Keep that in mind.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Golden Knights get Alec Martinez back on a 3-year, $15.7 million deal.
Love that.
Blake Coleman, oh my gosh, 6 years with the Flames, $4.9 million per. Awesome deal for him after winning back-to-back cups. So that guy's life is going pretty well. And plus, I think he just had another kid. Dallas Stars get Ryan Suter from the Wild with a 4-year deal with a $3.6 million AAV.
Little too long.
Yep, completely agree.
I agree.
Let's see what else is big on here. The Canucks get Yarrow Halak for 1 year at $1.5 million. I think that's a solid deal.
Carolina.
Yep. They signed Freddie Anderson to a 2-year, $4.5 million AAV deal. So that's basically the Leafs and Hurricanes swapping goaltenders.
Pretty much.
Switcheroo.
Yep. Nashville brings back Mikhail Granlund for 4 years at $5 million per. Right now, in my opinion, I think that's an overpay, but we'll see how that one goes.
Dallas signs Holtby.
Yeah, Dallas gets Braden Holtby for a 1-year deal worth $2 million. Montreal gets David Savard for a 4-year deal at $3.5 million.
People listening, there's a shit ton of signings.
There's literally like 2 pages worth of them here.
We're not going through all of. At this point, we're going through the big names just because Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. I would like to say they signed Brock McGinn, 4 years, 2.75 per. Also known for scoring the overtime thriller in the Caps Canes series. So hopefully we can get a little more of that. Fuck you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle, that's a big one. They signed Philip Grubauer to a 6-year deal at 5.9 per. That's pretty big news. And you guys got Vanacek back. We'll touch on that in a little bit. But, Seattle gets their franchise goalie. A little shocked that Colorado didn't, make a more competitive offer. But
this was a big mess.
Yeah, I mean, I know they only got so much money, and they just extended McCarr, and you're going to have McKinnon's contract coming up soon, and God knows what that's going to be worth. So they're going to be up against the cap. Nick, I'll let you take the next one.
LA Kings signed Philip Deneau to a 6-year deal at 5.5 per. I think that's pretty big. I know the Habs are really going to miss out on that. And I think the Kings are really starting to put some stuff together. So keep an eye on them.
The Kings look good.
The Kraken get forward Jaden Schwartz, 5 years, $5.5 million. Tony D, he's back. A lot of people didn't think this guy was going to get another crack at the NHL. Well, he is. He signs a 1-by-1 deal with the Hurricanes, as if I needed another excuse to hate the Hurricanes, but
they have eight defensemen that could legitimately play like any given night with any team. So I would imagine there's going to be some salary cap movement on that team. They're going to be up against the cap.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy about this, and he and I were basically saying it's basically a $1 million PTO for this guy at this point. So
no, exactly. Another one. Holy shit. Leafs. I'm going to say Leafs Twitter lost their mind when I read you this one, and I'll explain why. Braden Point signs an 8-year deal with an AAV of $9.5 million. That's just over a $72 million contract. A lot of Leafs fans complaining about how much money Mitch Marner is making because these two are very comparable players, and they're both, right-handed, good scoring, offensive threats, small body, but skate really well. But Marner's torn up the regular season. Braden Point's never been bad in the regular season. He's on probably like close to a point per game. I don't know. I'm saying that off the top of my head. But in the playoffs, just a different animal. I mean,
were they in the same draft?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's a good question. They might have been. But Leafs Twitter lost their mind because, obviously, like, how can we win when Marner's making $1.5 million more than a guy who scored in 8 straight playoff games and he can't score in 13 playoff games? So,
yeah, I mean, they have some valid points there.
Yeah, they do.
Florida gets Carter Verhaeghe back 3 years, carrying an AAV just over $4 million. I think that's a great deal. Nick Foligno signs in Boston for 2 years. And then New Jersey lands the big fish after Landeskog. They get Dougie Hamilton for 7 years at $9 million per.
That is way too much money, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was definitely going to say that. Can we also talk about the Bruins signing Linus Ullmark? Are they is Rask not good? Is he
Halak,
is he hurt?
I know Halak left, so they needed a backup.
Okay,
and I think Rask is he's going to be questionable.
Darth is gone, and I don't know what the deal with Swayman is.
True.
Actually, one that I don't know if we added. Did we already talk about Brandon Saad to St. Louis?
Not yet.
5-year deal for Brandon Saad to St. Louis.
You wanted him in Pitt.
I did. That one kind of bites. Christ, dude, there's so many on here. I don't know how many we've read already. Did we say Verhaeghe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, apologies if we missed one. We're trying. Did we say Werenski?
No.
Werenski gets 6 years at 9.58 per. That's more than Cale Makar is making. Way too much money, in my opinion. If the Columbus is going to be bottom feeders for the foreseeable future. I know Werenski's kind of their guy with Jones gone, but
exactly, that's the big thing there. They had to do it.
They had to keep at least one of them.
Yeah.
So I like the Rangers, not for me, but as a move for their team. I like them bringing back Philip Hedl on a bridge deal at 2 years, 2.3 per. I think that's a solid deal for him, solid deal for them, and exactly what they need their contracts to look like right now.
Sorry guys, I'm stuttering. Montreal with Hoffman, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, we got them all.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah, it helps when you go in order with the list sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. Good advice.
But
fuck me, right?
Out of all of these, which is the big one and which is a big mistake? That's what I want to know.
I think I'm going to answer that question a little differently than you might have imagined, but I think teams that I really think are putting themselves in a good position, I think the Kings are doing a great job. I think LA is going to be competitive this season, like truly competitive. I think they could fight for a playoff spot. And of course, Boston, I love what they're doing. They get Hall back at a good deal. They're going to have Foligno there, as a third line, checking winger, which is a great signing. One that I don't like. Oh, and I like what Florida did with Bennett and Verhaeghe. Those are two key pieces for them. One that I don't like. I hate to beat up on Columbus, but I really don't. I mean, Werenski's a great talent. Don't get me wrong, but I think that is just way too big of a cap hit, especially when you look at what Heiskanen and Makar just signed for. I don't really understand how Werenski gets that much money other than he just has them by the balls.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. Like they were going to have to pay him that much to get him to stay there.
Right. So that's my thoughts. I'll let you guys talk now.
I think the big miss here is it's not a signing. It's the Abs letting Grubauer go. You know, you put yourself in a position year in and year out where for what, the last 2 years consecutively, they've been the cup favorite at the beginning of the season and throughout the regular season to an extent. And you let your number one, the guy that's been your A1 goalie for the last 2 or 3 years walk like that. Yeah. I don't know. And then your solution to that problem is Darcy Kemper.
I think Kemper's got some game. I question the consistency. I feel like with Grubauer, you kind of know what you're going to get. And with Kemper, you're not as sure, but I feel like the upside is tremendous. I mean, he was a Vezina,
I think so too.
He was a Vezina candidate like 2 seasons ago. So
yeah. And we'll jump into that a little bit when we get to the trades, but they had to give up an arm and a leg just to get him too, because he was one of the only ones left out there.
Yeah.
And Arizona knew that, and they played it perfectly, I thought. Yeah. Some trades to get to.
Wait, Mac, did you have any that you wanted to comment on?
The only other one I was going to add was, I kind of already touched on it, was Ryan Suter. And just to put it in perspective, look, he's a career player, great player, had some great moments for Team USA as well, but he's about to turn 37 in January, and that's a 4-year deal. I mean, it's not a ton of money at 3.6 a year, right, but I would have liked to see like a 2-year deal for him somewhere, maybe 3.
Yeah.
We hear you.
I'm assuming like the front 2 are for him, the back 2 or the front 2 are for them, the back 2 are for him or something. Who knows? Mm-hmm. We mentioned Hyman to the Oilers. He has since been signed since then. The Sabres dealt Sam Reinhart to the Panthers in exchange for a 2022 first rounder and Devin Levi. I think if you're the Sabres, great job. You got a first round pick for Sam Reinhart. You did what you needed to do in that deal. Kudos. Now don't screw this one up.
Right. No, I totally agree.
A 1-for-1 trade. We really don't see too much of these anymore in the NHL, but the Flyers trade Jacob Voracek to the Blue Jackets in exchange for Cam Atkinson. So Voracek goes back to the team that drafted him. Atkinson comes to Philly. Don't really know.
I don't get that one at all for Columbus. I think that's a steal for Philly.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by that one too.
Lower cap hit and big upside. I think that's a great trade for the Flyers. The Flyers are looking good.
Yeah. Plus Atkinson in a Flyers uniform just pisses me off. So the Hurricanes trade Jake Bean to the Blue Jackets for a 2021 second rounder. The Jackets have been pretty active. Obviously their big one. They've traded Seth Jones, the 31st overall pick, and a 2022 sixth rounder to the Hawks in exchange for Adam Boquist, the 11th overall pick, and a 2021 second rounder and a 2022 first rounder. So that's a big deal. Love that for the Hawks. I don't think Boquist is too, he's not too shabby, but he's not what Seth Jones is. So
I give the Blue Jackets credit. They just traded their franchise player and they got a pretty decent haul, I would say. So
yeah,
I give props to Columbus for getting that much return. I mean, when you look at some of the other star players around the league that get dealt, sometimes you're scratching your head, but I think this one kind of adds up to what it should be. And then obviously Jones, monster contract that he just signed. So
yeah, big ticket for sure. The Yotes send their captain, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Connor Garland to Vancouver in exchange for the 9th overall pick, Jay Beagle, Louis Eriksson, Antoine Roussel, and a 2022 second rounder and a 2023 seventh rounder. Is Roussel still playing? Is Eriksson even still playing, or is that just
I don't
contract stuff?
I'm pretty sure Roussel played some games last season.
Okay.
However, I don't recall Eriksson playing games.
And then following that trade, the Canucks signed Garland to a 5-year deal with around a $5 million per cap hit. Let's see, what else do we have on here? The Blues acquired forward Pavel Buchnevich from the Rangers in exchange for Sammy Blais and a 2022 second round pick. And following that deal, they signed Buchnevich to a 4-year, $23 million contract. Do you guys
Love
like
that.
this move for the Blues?
I love that move for the Blues. I think Booch came into his own in New York this past season. I think he's going to be a great player for the Blues. Kind of fits that mold. I think that they got a lot of sandpaper in that lineup. Whenever I think of the Blues, I think of they got a lot of grit, toughness, big bodies, but you need a couple skill guys, and I think Booch is going to be perfect for that.
Yeah, I think he'll be a good replacement, like with guys like Jaden Schwartz leaving, just another source. Yeah, just another source of offense in that lineup. So I think that's a good move for them. The Caps trade defenseman Brendan Dillon to the Winnipeg Jets for a second-round picks in 2022 and 2023. So that's Dillon for 2 second-rounders, which I think you kind of have to look at that and go, that's a good deal.
Props to you guys. I can't believe you got that much for him, to be quite honest with you.
And those Jets picks could be high too.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah. 2022 and 2023. I mean, who knows what Winnipeg's capable of.
Right.
They're kind of one of those teams you either finish last or first. No one knows.
Yeah, and it's going to change every year. I think that, everyone is like, you love the way Brendan Dillon plays. He was a fan favorite from his time in DC, so everyone has that sentimental aspect, but this is a good deal. I mean, it's the same thing we said about the Vrana trade. When you break it down, it's a good deal at the right time. So
it's also, it's a bummer. He was a cool guy, cool player and stuff, but it was one of those things where we kind of rented him and it didn't exactly work out, and it's a bummer, but sorry to see him go.
Exactly. The Vegas Golden Knights dealt current Vezina Trophy winning goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury to the Chicago Blackhawks for basically what's like an AHL consideration. This was mainly done to dump salary.
This is fucked up.
Yeah. So basically, the thing surrounding this that I'm sure everyone has seen is Fleury gets traded, had no idea it was even going to happen. I think he found out via Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, Harry.
Did. Yeah, he did.
And he's already come out and said, basically, I'm not moving my family to another city.
Yes.
He's like, we've done that enough. I'm not doing it again. And then the big rumor is that there's a chance he just retires instead of playing for them.
So I was a big Vegas stan on this podcast because the other two hate him, in case you couldn't tell by now. That's gone. I hate him now too.
Hell yeah.
You don't stab your franchise player who is the key player that you drafted in the first expansion that basically carried you to a cup final in your inaugural year, has made you a competitive team year in and year out. I'm sorry, but the way that you did that is fucked up, and you don't treat your goalie like that. You don't treat your goalie like that. You don't treat your franchise player like that. And then on top of that, you don't treat Marc-Andre Fleury like that. Just the nicest guy that you could possibly ask for. One of the best teammates, never complains, gets along with everybody. Fuck Vegas. I'm no longer on that wagon. They can go rot in hell for all I care. And I hope that we see Fleury playing again next season. I don't know if it'll happen. I don't know if you guys – I sent you guys the story on Instagram, but his kids found out and, started crying. And they're like, we don't want to move schools again, all this stuff. I'm like, dude – I get that's part of the business, but you're talking about a Hall of Fame goalie with 3 Stanley Cups, not your fourth line grinder that you're dishing off for picks. You treat him a little bit better than that. So
also he was their superstar. He was their first superstar.
He was
player because it's not like you're choosing superstars in the expansion draft. So,
and his agent took to Twitter and literally wrote, did you see Alan Walsh on Twitter? He was saying well, we just found out that Fleury got traded. And I was like, oh my God, this is not going to end well. So Fleury, Friedman reported this. I don't know if it's true. Fleury said the only other place he'll play is Pittsburgh, obviously because he has a home there. He's familiar with the area, the teammates. But apparently Hextall is not really trying to go that route. He's trying to find maybe a longer-term solution in the goaltending department. We'll see. I don't know, dude. I just feel bad for him. That's all I got to say.
2 things I'll add is, number one, I don't care what your plan was if you're Hextall. If this falls in your lap, I think you take it. I think
yeah.
Why not?
I don't care if you're a GM and you're big brain or whatever, and you're like, oh no, this is my big evil scheme to have the best goalie by the year 2025 or whatever. Throw it out the window and sign Marc-Andre Fleury. Do it. The other thing I will add is I totally get it. Family guy. He doesn't want to move his family, all that stuff. We've done this enough, whatever. He's only had to do it once, right? I mean, he was drafted by the Penguins. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I'm him, I feel like I would just like move myself to like a city for like a year or like 2 or whatever. And then like, if you still hate it, like retire or whatever. Like, I know it is a lot and like, it's easy for me to say that. And like, I don't know what that actually like means and everything.
Right.
Like, I'm also selfish because I just want to see the guy play more games in the NFL. Like, he's just such an awesome goalie to watch. And this past year with Vegas during the regular season, it was like some of the most, I mean, I hate Vegas, but I had so much fun watching him just like play lights out in so many. He had that streak of like 3 shutouts in like 5 games or something like that. And like, he was just tearing it up. So I would hate to see him hang him up, but
it's kind of weird to say he might hang him up after winning the Vezina Trophy this season. Just doesn't seem right. I mean, there's definitely gas left in the tank.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my dad and I were talking about this. We were like, Chicago's not too far away from Vegas. Like, if he just wanted to do that, but like you said, Mac, we don't really know the ins and outs of that. So it's kind of hard for us to speculate on something like that. Moving on.
The Coyotes should call him up and
yeah, actually.
Like, I mean, we're right here, bro. We'll like buy you like a condo.
Right. Yeah. Could work. The Vancouver Canucks traded defenseman Nate Schmidt to the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for a 2022 third-round pick. I'm pissed. I wanted the Caps to go get him back. Thought that they had a good chance at doing that. So, oh well. The Calgary Flames have acquired Nikita Zadorov from the Blackhawks in exchange for a 2022 third-round pick. I think that's a great deal for the Flames. Zadorov's a big guy that can really throw his weight around and should help that identity out a lot. I actually like this deal for the Golden Knights. They got Evgeny Dadonov from the Senators in exchange for Nick Holden and a third-rounder. I think that –
I like that too.
Yeah, one of the things we saw with Vegas is like they – just needed a little oomph in scoring from the forwards with the depth. It's just
he's a water bug, dude. He's that slippery Russian, silky hands, like hides in the high slot. You never really.
I love that water bug.
He's a water bug. Yeah. That's exactly what he is.
That's like what I think were hoping when they drafted Vladim Shipachyov, and he played 3 games and then went back to the KHL. So I think they're hoping to get that out of Dadonov. So hopefully it works out for them, except not because I hate them. The Caps got Vitek Vanacek back from Seattle just about 48 hours after the expansion draft.
That whole situation was exactly like, here, it's time for an analogy. I haven't done one of these in a while, but that exact switcheroo situation was like a bully literally taking your lunch money and just dangling it right above your face. And you'd be like, come on, dude, come on. I'm having such a rough day. Why you got to do that right now? And they're like, oh, come on, come get it or whatever. And then they're like, oh, you're like, okay, what do I have to do to get my lunch back? And they actually name a price. And they're like, you got to do my laundry for a week, or do all my homework and turn it and help me get an A on this test or whatever the fuck it is. And you're like, all right, I'll do it, dude. Just give me my shit back.
That was actually so spot on.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Mac. Speaking.
Yeah. This was just, Mac, I texted you about it, and it's just it's so funny. Part of me wonders, was there a deal under the table in place? Hey,
I started wondering that too, because I know before the expansion draft, there was rumblings that there was all kinds of deals like that under the table, and maybe that was one of them all along. Maybe BMAC was never panicked about it, and he was like, all right, go ahead, take him. We'll talk in 2 days.
Right.
Maybe VTech knew for all I knew. Maybe they were don't move anything. Just, hold tight or whatever.
You take this guy with your pick, basically, and then when it's all said and done, provided you get another goaltender, which they did, they got 2 or 3.
Yeah,
we'll give you something to get him back, and then we'll negotiate when that time comes or
basically,
something.
Basically, they selected a 2nd round pick from us.
Pretty much. So, it was one of the ones that was used in the Dillon trade, so it's not like they really lost.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm pissed. I wanted him to come to Pittsburgh, but whatever. That would have been fun. It would have been nice to take one of your players for once instead of the other way around.
You guys took Eric Fair from us.
I was just about to say, how'd you like Eric Fair?
Yeah, but he
and Brent Johnson, dude. Come on.
Yeah, true. That's another one.
Not
and Sergei Gonchar. Just saying.
I'll give you Fair. I'll give you Gonchar. I'm not gonna take the whole Brent Johnson thing. He didn't really.
Didn't Gonchar win a Stanley Cup with you guys too?
Yeah,
I think he was.
He was our best defenseman in 2009.
Yeah,
he literally ran the power play.
Yeah.
Like, I loved Gunn. She was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of running
awesome.
the power play, New Jersey traded Will Butcher and a 5th rounder to Buffalo in exchange for future considerations. The Devils did this mainly to unload the $3.73 million cap hit on Butcher's contract.
So
Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations, Buffalo.
Yeah. I mean, Will Butcher's a great player.
Yeah.
He's young. He's up and coming. Skates great. Good defensively. Just an all-around great player. So Buffalo got a good one here.
Yeah. And then the last trade we have to announce
The biggest
on this
one,
list.
the biggest one in my opinion.
Yep, the biggest one and the most hysterical one of them all. This is the last one up until the point, which is 8:45 on the 30th that we've been recording today. Vegas trades Ryan Reeves to the New York Rangers for a 2022 third-round pick.
Wait, who?
Yeah.
We need to make a T-shirt
I've never heard of him.
that
me neither.
has Wilson like staring at Reeves, and they're just staring at each other. And then underneath we have the date of opening night, and we'll at Madison Square
It's
Garden.
just a
Like,
title fight.
box.
It's a
It's a
title
title
fight.
fight.
Yeah.
All right, so we need a prop bet. What are the odds that they drop the gloves on opening night?
Yes.
Yikes.
Bet the odds.
It's just
This is-
yes. Yeah, it's just it's already going to happen.
This is so perfect. I'm so happy about this because opening night on ESPN Caps Rangers is going to be can't miss television. Like
God.
appointment fucking television. This is
Well, hopefully
unbelievable.
it helps make the Caps like actually relevant or something at the very least. But
Yeah.
What do you guys think about all this? Because you know exactly what's coming this season.
I
think it's
texted you
dumb.
guys last night. I texted my Caps friends last night. This is what living rent free in an entire team's head looks like.
yeah,
Now, and I'll give you that fair point, but does it worry you a little bit?
No.
mean, he's gonna hurt someone. I don't know who it is, but
It doesn't
he's a
really.
clown.
Yeah.
I fully expect him to like get dressed for like 10 games this upcoming season. He's a clown. He's
And
washed.
anytime the
He's not a
Caps
good
are
hockey
there.
player.
Yeah. I'm not really too concerned about that because I think Matt makes a great point is when Willie's in the lineup, Willie contributes on the score sheet. Revo doesn't. So
They're gonna suit him up a couple times to try and get him to fight
Yeah.
someone, and then eventually they're gonna realize that he doesn't really add much to the lineup in any other way besides that. And he also just runs around, takes stupid penalties most of the time. So I don't think it's really a smart signing. I think they're also just overthinking it. Like it's really not that big of a thing. Like apparently the Rangers are still rattled about this or something. Cause like I literally haven't been thinking about like the Rangers and Caps like fight night or whatever since like the week after it happened. I was like, okay, cool. Like that's over now. But
yeah,
apparently they've been thinking about it all off season. So I mean,
clearly
it happens when you don't make the playoffs and stuff.
right. They were so tired of people
Ooh.
saying that team didn't have any muscle that they went out and found the biggest guy that they could. So
well, they also, I mean, the Rangers got some bodies. They picked up Tenorti, they picked up Reeves, they picked up Nemeth. I mean, they're all of a sudden looking like a bunch of rough goons on the back end.
well, I think they
Um,
learned last season that like you do need some
Yeah.
muscle on your team.
So just so you're all aware, so last night we have a group chat of our friends. Mark is in there, fellow Rangers fan, writes at 10:06 p.m. in all caps, Ryan Reeves, oh Tommy boy, we're coming, guns blazing. When I say Chris Drury is aiming to kill Wilson, I'm not kidding. It goes on and on and on. And then just I can't say some of the things that are actually I can't read the rest of it. So.
Yeah.
But Rangers fans are fired up, I guess, is what I'm trying to point out here. And they have not forgotten.
Honestly, if I was in Mark's shoes,
Oh, dude.
I would be fired up too. Right now, I would be. Let's talk halfway through the season, and let's see how that signing has helped
Let's
your team.
see.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. I think this
Yeah.
is this is also kind of a playoff trade, if that makes
It
sense.
is.
You want him in your lineup come playoff time because shit hits the fan, refs let games get out of control, blah, blah, blah. This is one of the guys you kind of need.
Do you think a third rounder's an overpay?
I mean, not really. I think for what they need, I mean, is he worth a third rounder? Probably not. But is he worth a third rounder for the Rangers? Yeah, probably. I think they need someone who's going to set it all straight. I mean, Panarin got fucking manhandled.
True.
I can tell you from personal experience, the season that Wilson broke Aston Reese's jaw, every Penguins fan was like, fuck us. Why did we trade Reeves? Because we don't have – that's a horrible feeling when you truly don't have anybody who can match up to a bully. Like, that's not fun. And as a fan, it grinds your gears because you're like, why don't we have someone like that? What's wrong with us? Can we call someone up from the A? Like, but it never works out like that.
Right.
So
I will say though, like you mentioned before, like Tenorti and Nemeth are like good players and they're tough and they're big.
Yeah.
And like, why add another bad player that's tough?
It's an arms race, baby.
Yeah.
I kind of love it. I'm not gonna lie. This is so good for hockey.
The only reason I thought that a third rounder is an overpay is because that's exactly what the Jets gave up to get Nate Schmidt.
Yes. And like I said, I don't think he's worth a third rounder, but he might be worth a third rounder for the Rangers.
Right. And I think that's a great point too, is that's what they needed right now. So they went out and got it.
Plus they got enough prospects in the pipeline. I mean, what the fuck is a third round pick?
True.
They got enough in the tank. So
yeah.
Anyways, I think we beat that to a pulp, but I'm excited for opening night. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's going to be sick.
It's great not having skin in the game. I'm going to be honest. It's so perfect.
Fair enough. Easy for you to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that wraps it up, boys. I mean, that was a lot to everyone listening. I apologize for me going out of order in the signings. I was kind of all over the place trying to check Twitter to find facts and shit. So I kind of fucked that all up. One keynote I do want to say, starting next season, there will be 28 NHL players who have a bigger cap hit than Sidney Crosby.
Wow. I actually kind of believe now. Like 28 still sounds high to me, but the number being like bigger is just it's a result of time. And plus all these young kids are getting paid.
8.7, baby.
Yeah.
Is that what Sid makes?
8.7 because he's a
87
fucking weirdo like that.
Talk about OCD.
Oh my God.
So weird.
Yeah.
Real quick before we hop off, the top remaining NHL UFAs by position. Centers, we have Tyler Bozak, Derek Brassard, Casey Cizikas, David Krejci, Riley Nash, Riley Sheehan, Eric Stahl, Derek Stepan, Joe Thornton, and Travis Zajac. Wingers, we have Alex Chason, Tyler Ennis, Alex Galchenyuk, Nikita Gusev, Andre Kasha, Patrick Marleau, Kyle Palmieri, Zach Parise, Nick Ritchie, and Thomas Tatar.
Bring back Chason to DC.
I would totally be okay with that. Defensemen, you have Jordy Ben, Big Z, Christian Juice, Eric Goodbranson, Eric Gustafson, Ryan Murray, and Sami Vatanen. I think definitely those names could get picked up at some point. All those guys, I think, still have good treads left on the tires, even Chara. Goalies, you have Devin Dubnyk, Henrik Lundqvist, Curtis McElhinney, Tuukka Rask, and Corey Schneider.
Out of that forward group, I can't remember winger and center. Andre Kasha, that one kind of surprises me.
Yeah, I think he'll get scooped up by someone.
A lot of these guys are still in talks too. Like Paul Mary is working on getting a long-term deal in Long Island. So
yeah,
don't you worry about that one.
Yeah. So that's just who's left on the table as we roll into what is this now, day 2, day 3 of free agency?
I don't know.
I can't honestly keep up anymore.
This might be a hot take, but I don't really – these kind of episodes where it's just news, and it's not like any gambling or analysis. It's just not my favorite kind of episode, if we're being honest.
It puts your brain in a pretzel because it's just data overload.
I will say the one reason I do like these episodes is it helps me get everything straight. Like I was feeling a little overwhelmed the other day trying to scroll through the NHL discussion page on every single thing that happened. And I was like, holy shit, dude, it's too much. And which goalies are playing where now? And these guys swapped and everything. Like I'm not going to be able to like get it straight in my head, but like actually breaking it down and like telling the people about it helps me kind of hammer it home too and remember like who's actually playing where. So
it does come in handy come season preview time, which by the way, maybe when you hopefully if you come down for the Laughlin tournament, we can
that might be a good time.
We can bang that out right there and then. So that's all I got, fellas.
All righty. I think we're all good.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate the love and support. Go check out the merch store, like I mentioned at the start. And without further ado,
class dismissed.